Hi critter friends, this is Soraya and thank you so much for being here. So I allowed everything to completely dry and I am absolutely really loving so much of what's going on. Like, even though when I started off this, portrait, there was nothing wrong with it, and it was a perfectly fine mixed media portrait, but I just wasn't interested in it. It had no juice, it had no energy. And now when I look at this, like, even though the eyes are all blacked out and, there's, not a whole lot going on, I am really, really loving it. I love the numbers. I love the juiciness over here. I love the gold. So I just feel like it's heading in the right direction. Now I still want to kind of roughen it up a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I am going to get two different pencils. This one over here is in a blue, and I don't know, I just pulled it out of my my little jar over here, and I think it's a Stabilo, but it might be an Inktense. I don't really know, honestly. It says Stabilo on here, but it's not my regular Stabilo. But anyways, I just want to like roughen it up a little bit. So I just want to like make some marks, and just really kind of just go to town with it, I want it to be like really just raw, I guess is a good word. Because that's one of the things I didn't like about the portrait, besides the fact that all the values were too much the same. I just, it just had no energy in it. And to me, one of the things I can do is just kind of like, just mark it up a little bit. And I'm actually even going to turn it around. Now, I don't like the shape of her hair. It doesn't fit, okay? It's looking a bit really odd, but that's okay. I'm gonna kind of just work with it a little bit. And I think what I'm gonna do is I am going to put some collage on here. Now, I do like that color. I like that orange over there, so I'm not gonna mess with that color, but I need to kind of like tone down the hair a little bit here. The hair is too big and it just does not suit the face. It looks out of place to me. I'm just gonna stir that up a little bit. And so if you might remember, one of the things I said we could do to kind of like a disruption layer to disrupt everything is to add collage. So, I mean, I'm doing it to kind of like reshape the hair, but it's a similar thing, I'm also disrupting the page by doing it. And one of the things I have discovered, you guys, is that when I am working for a process and I'm not really so concerned about the end result, that just leads to so much learning for me, because when I'm too concerned about the end result, I'm too stilted and it doesn't allow me to let go, experiment, because I'm just more focused on the outcome. So to me, this is just like, oh, I'm just like playing around, I'm just seeing what's gonna happen. And that's a good place to be. Okay, I'm just gonna, I didn't mean to put so much collage, but it's okay. I really like that orangey part for the hair there. So I'm just gonna address the going from, project to project for a second, you guys. There are so many great reasons to work in this way. Like I think I mentioned this before, when my daughter was much younger, I had to be very cognizant of how I was going to use my time because it was very limited. And so I just ended up, out of necessity really, working on lots of different projects at one time. You know, I had to really be very aware of my time and how I was spending it. But by working in that way, I learned so many different good reasons to work like that, where you go from project to project. You don't like stay on one thing. And one of the great reasons, besides the cross-pollination of ideas, is that you get perspective. You know, because if you're working on one thing all the time, it's really difficult to get a fresh pair of eyes looking at it because you're just so like focused on it. But when you know, take a break, go work on something else, besides the fact that everything you've learned in this new thing, in the second or third thing, you're going to bring back to the first project. Besides that, you're also going to get a fresh pair of eyes looking at your work, and that is invaluable, honestly. Okay, so now I think, you know, I'm okay with the way that is being built up, because the hair was just it was not proportionate. Now what I'm gonna do, I did put some of my Luminous Opera and a Cad Red Light on my palette here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm really loving the gold, but what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna dip some of this Luminous Opera here, and I'm just gonna kind of like smush it a little bit in here. Just gonna kind of go like so. If you guys can hear that, that's Maxie's stomach is growling there. And see, I'm just kind of like, okay. And I'm gonna drop some of that ink in there. So I know that this looks really super messy, but you guys, I am loving this so much more than I was, which might seem weird, you know? It might seem really weird. I don't know. That portrait, like I said, there was nothing wrong with it. I just was not feeling it. And I'm just loving this so much more because it's got life in it. That's what it is. I felt like the portrait had no life in it, you know? It was just like, ugh. There was nothing wrong with it per se. It was just kind of lifeless and boring to me. And now this feels like there's some juice here. And I'm always going to follow the juice, you guys. Like, I'm always going to just follow what lights me up. It doesn't have to make sense to anybody else but you. God, it's taken me so long to get that lesson. Because a lot of times, you know, people don't mean anything bad by it. Like, just say you're taking a class or whatever. You know, people can say, oh, I love this. And then when you get like really, not addicted, but you know, I mean, we're human, right? Like it makes us feel good, you know, for somebody to say, oh, you know, I like your work or whatever. But then we can get like too dependent on it, where we don't paint what we want to paint. We're painting just for the validation, I guess. So that lesson has it's just been a long time for me to get that lesson. Like, hey, just follow the juice. It doesn't have to, not everybody has to like it, is my point. You have to be good with it, but not everybody is going to like your work, and that's okay. You know, we can't like every, you know, even like think about like the artists that you like. I mean, you probably don't like all of their work. Like there are some, like I love Van Gogh, but there are some of his paintings that just don't appeal to me. Like his earlier paintings, I really don't care for them. So yeah, you know, but he still painted them, and he loved it. So that's all that matters, really. Anyways, I'm just saying, you know, just follow the juice. Ooh, and I'm really loving this now. There's some like juicy stuff going on here. Oh my god, really liking it. Okay, let's just kind of go like so, and just kind of like put a little bit of color here. Okay, so I am going to allow this to completely dry, but oh, you know what? Before I do that, I want some sepia here. I want my sepia ink. Let me see, is that sepia? Yep. And I'm just gonna drop it in there because that's really gonna kind of like make some luscious marks here. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm also gonna drag it into the hair, maybe. Like just drag it over here, and ooh, like look at that, you guys. That's really, yeah, okay. I'm really loving this now. Okay, you guys, if you've watched all the way to the end, thank you so much. And I think I'm gonna post this video later on today, so that in case anybody is following along, you know, these are kind of short videos because I do allow things to dry naturally. But like, look at this. I don't want to mess it up and have all this run all over, but now it's got some juice. You know, look at the juiciness. Oh my god. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.